THA denies ordering Prados on oil spill bill. TPP's David Thomas resumes canvassing after hospitalization from attack. And UNC highlights EBC concerns to CARICOM observers. Good evening, I am Bianna Brebner. Welcome to the Tobago Updates Television News for Tuesday, 22nd April 2025. To our top story. Finance Secretary Petal Ann Roberts has denied claims that 2 Prados were ordered and billed to the THA in response to the 2024 Gulf Stream oil spill. The accusation was made by the PNM political leader Dr. Keith Rowley during a rally in Goodwood as he criticized the current THA administration's management of Tobago affairs. Reporter Candice Jackson has more details.
PNM political leader Dr. Keith Rowley said that while he was Prime Minister, the central government received a bill from the THA for response efforts to the 2024 Gulf Stream oil spill, one that included charges for 2 Prados.
2 Prados. And they will come and tell you tomorrow that I lie. If they only say I lie, I will ask the minister to produce their submission,
Finance Secretary Petal Ann Roberts has responded to the accusation, dismissing it as a fabrication, a calculated lie designed to distract, deflect, and deceive. In a statement to the media, Roberts explained that at the end of March 2024, the THA submitted invoices they had on hand, along with projected expenses through September 2024 for oil spill response efforts totaling $153.5 million. However, during the mid-year budget review in July, the THA received only $50 million. Since her denial, Dr. Rowley has yet to provide evidence to support his claims. Meanwhile, he has also accused Education Secretary Zorisha Hackett of attempting to block assistance from the central government when the oil spill began affecting students.
The Minister of Education and the staff at the Ministry of Education communicated with the THA. They said, that is our responsibility, or let's stay out of it. That was their initial reaction. And when the minister told me that, I said, well, you get yourself to Tobago and you let them know and put them on the record that the central government is prepared to take responsibility.
Hackett denied the claim, stating on social media that after a thorough search, she found no correspondence, records, or messages to support Dr. Rowley's accusations. The former Prime Minister also blamed the THA for blocking access to funding for the new Scarborough Secondary School.
I went to Saudi Arabia and accessed from the Saudis $500 million loan, a portion of which is to build the secondary school in Tobago.
Dr. Rowley claimed he was appalled upon learning that the THA had been negotiating with the Caribbean Development Bank for a loan to construct the school, insisting that the central government should handle the funding instead.
Not for hell would they give the minister the user brief until the time for the loan had passed. I instructed the minister again. I said, either write the secretary or send her a WhatsApp, but get something on the record from her about the user brief.
The user brief was eventually handed over, and efforts are now underway to secure funding for the school. Candice Jackson, Tobago Updates, Television News.
Patriotic Front candidate Tobago West, Arita Clark, has made land reform a key focus of her campaign. Speaking on a special Tobago Updates general election show, Clark highlighted ongoing challenges with land ownership and distribution. She vowed to address long-standing delays and improve access if elected. Kimberly Mitchell has the details.
Patriotic Front Tobago West candidate Aretha Clark is calling for changes to the Succession Act to include individuals born before 1981. She said the current law unfairly includes many families from claiming inherited property, especially affecting descendants whose ancestors fall into the restricted age group.
So when they were having the debates, as far as I remember, in 2010, those issues, though that part of the law should have been amended. However, there are several acts that governs what dictates happen with lands, especially with handing over heirs and so forth. But as far as I'm aware, the Succession Act of 1981 is the act that has to be amended to include for us to apply to acquire our foreparents' lands.
Clark pledged to implement a transparent, community-focused approach to land governance, signaling the Patriotic Front's intent to make land justice a key election issue in Tobago.
And that's one of the main reasons why we Tobagonians, because somebody just appear with a deed like that and we don't know how they acquired the deed. So we have to start with that investigation, that legislation, and he's right if you have a committee to deal with those issues, because that's the reason why the property tax may have been stopped, because too many fraudulent deeds have been circulating and by extension in Tobago.
Clark said her story has resonated with many who have grown wary of distant and disengaged representation. The Tobago West candidate promised to be a different representative than those before her, committed to solving issues such as land tenure.
I am the go-getter kind of person that once you speak to Ms. Clark, nothing is left unturned.
Kimberly Mitchell, Tobago Updates Television News.
PNM Tobago East candidate Ayanna Webster Roy urged that giving the 2 Tobago seats to opposing or independent political parties would not be beneficial as electing a PNM government. She made the statement during a PNM meeting in Goodwood on Saturday. In contrast, political leader of the IDA, Dr. Denise Sawyer-Fat Angus, offered a different view. Speaking during an interview on the Good Morning Tobago show, she stated that the 2 Tobago seats carry significant negotiating power. Reporter Josh Eldan has this report.
Ayanna Webster Roy, PNM candidate for the Tobago East seat, has argued that handing the seats to other political entities would bring no real benefit to the island. She maintains that true representation for Tobago can only be achieved under a PNM-led government.
And if you take God out of your thoughts and to give them the 2 seats to carry down in Trinidad, all you're guaranteeing and securing for all yourself is 2 backbenchers who, if they get the opportunity to catch the speaker's eye, might get a little 45 minutes on the floor. Or if it's a private member's day, they might get a little play.
However, Dr. Denise Sawyer-Fat Angus disagreed. She claimed the 2 Tobago seats give the island a valuable opportunity for negotiation.
And this is why we are saying to our people out there, send our people down as twins, because at least one can raise a motion and one can second it. But what is way more important is that you begin to have a parliament that can work, where you're not just in adversarial, well, use this and use that. No, you will have a parliament now where they have to negotiate with your 2 seats.
Dr. Sawyer-Fat Angus stated that it worked before, when the DAC's Arthur N.R. Robinson and Dr. Winston Murray were elected to Parliament in 1976. A year later, in 1977, they successfully advocated for the Tobago House of Assembly.
It's only when Robinson and Murray deviated from that one time, and they went into the Parliament as independent seats, that they got us the first Tobago House of Assembly Act. After that, Robinson was part of the 33 in cabinet, and nothing seemed to happen after that.
She believes history has shown that when the 2 Tobago seats are not aligned with any of the major political parties, the island sees real results from Parliament. Josh Eldan, Tobago Updates Television News.
We'll take a break and come back with more. Stay tuned.
Are you in a dispute with a registered investment service provider of the TTSEC? Or maybe you're the victim of an investment scam? You can lodge a complaint or submit an anonymous tip to the Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission. Download our Investor Protection app or go to ttsec.org.tt to access our complaint form or submit an anonymous tip. Write a clear summary of your complaint. Submit copies of supporting documents along with the originals for verification. Provide a copy of the feedback received from the entity regarding your complaint. All investor complaints or scam reports submitted by the public are acknowledged and reviewed by the TTSEC. Investigations are pursued based on the outcome of the review. Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission, protecting the interests of investors and the public. You invest, we protect. Everyone benefits.
Courts is well known as the Caribbean's largest retailer, providing consumers for generations with the very best products to enhance their homes. This year, we bring our expertise to businesses. Courts Business Solutions will serve small, medium, and large companies with the very best products at the most competitive prices, backed by warranties and after-sales support. Hoteliers, office managers, restaurants, and so many more. Courts Business Solutions, a brand of the Unicomer Group.
The following is a paid political advertisement.
Open all your eyes this election. All your big and all your sense. UNC promising the world.
I have heard the UNC saying that they will pay public servants 10 to 14% back pay, which will cost us over $6 billion in back pay.
Kamla, let we be real. Where you getting the money from?
Blah, 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 blah. We have the plans.
And it will cost over $1 billion a year. So that's $7 billion with no revenue.
Every expert saying we can't afford it. So asking one last time, Kamla, where you getting that money from?
Blah, 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 blah. We have the plans.
You put that bunch of corrupt kleptocrats in office, and the one thing you're guaranteed to get is a devaluation of the currency of Trinidad and Tobago.
We only have one choice because we big and have sense. We red and we ready.
Great is the PNM and we shall prevail.
Tobago, are you ready?
Yes, PNM.
Of course we paid for that political announcement because we have to be responsible.
That was a paid political advertisement.
TNTech is pleased to advise that its Roxborough Service Center has reopened. Starting Monday, 10th March, customers can once more visit the Roxborough Administrative Building to pay TNTech bills, request new connections, and more. TNTech, powering the nation into the next generation.
Welcome back. TPP Tobago East candidate David Thomas is back on the ground canvassing despite being physically attacked by a PNM supporter, a confrontation that landed him in the hospital over the weekend. Thomas was canvassing in Speyside on Friday when the incident occurred. Speaking on the TPP's Who Feels It Knows It radio program, he clarified that contrary to some reports, he had been invited into the home where the attack took place.
And when I got to them, they said, a lady in the house that I went said that I gave her a drop the day before, and I didn't tell her about my candidacy. Okay. And when I joined them, I should visit the house. Okay.
While speaking with the female resident, Thomas was aggressively approached by one of her relatives. The man, identified as Kevin Cordner, reportedly told Thomas he was in a PNM house and that he should leave. Thomas said he initially tried to ignore the man, but eventually responded as the confrontation continued.
And I said to him, I taught you to drive, and the young lady I'm speaking to, I taught her to drive, and I never disrespected you all. Right. I do not understand why you are disrespecting me. And that caused him to become irate, so he pulled the chair from under me. I had to scramble to hold on, and in the process, I jerked my back and neck.
Thomas was pushed out of the home and sustained injuries to his neck and back, which required medical attention at the Roxborough Hospital. However, by Sunday evening, he was back on the ground canvassing.
And I am leaving it there, and I'm continuing my campaign because things do happen in life, and I wish to not allow that to interfere with my psyche. Right. I was hospitalized from Friday to midday on Saturday, and I don't want it to interfere with my work going forward, so I am leaving it there.
Police report was filed following the incident. The Tobago Council of the PNM has since denounced all forms of aggression, violence and hostility towards any political entity. They also urged the public not to assign blame to any individual until all the facts are known. However, the alleged assailant did admit to using violence and aggression in an interview with another media house. Meanwhile, the Innovative Democratic Alliance also condemned the attack and call for decency, respect and professionalism from all participants in the election. The party reminded the public that at the end of the day, they are all Tobagonians who must continue living together after the election. Staying with the election campaign coverage, the United National Congress met with CARICOM observers today, raising concerns about several irregularities they claim have eroded their confidence in the Elections and Boundaries Commission. At a press conference, UNC attorney Daryl Alha said he presented a dossier to the CARICOM team outlining the party's concerns. One issue highlighted was a statement made by PNM General Secretary Foster Cummins, who during a political meeting claimed that in previous elections, the PNM received results directly from the EBC before the rest of the country.
To date, the EBC has never distanced itself from Mr. Cummings' comments, and those comments have, without any rebuttal from the EBC, we say that those comments have totally undermined the EBC's integrity and the EBC's independence. And they can't stay quiet. The damage has been done already.
Other issues raised include irregularities in the special voting process and inconsistent instructions from returning officers. Allah stated that the UNC is concerned the PNM may have infiltrated the EBC, potentially compromising the integrity of the election process. While he acknowledged that the managing elections is a significant task, he stressed the need for due diligence and care to maintain public trust.
And there is a great possibility for a lot of those moving little cogs in the wheel to be compromised. When you have hundreds of officials and there's a lack of due diligence by the EBC. Remember, they had to remove a presiding officer because she attended a PNM meeting and it was caught on camera.
Allah stated that when the EBC cheats, Trinidad and Tobago loses. The UNC also called on CARICOM observers to make their report public after the election, expressing concern that past observers' reports were not shared with the public. The party believes it is important for citizens to have access to these reports to ensure transparency and accountability in the electoral process. You are watching the Tobago Updates Television News. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram and YouTube at Tobago Updates. More news after this.
The following is a paid political advertisement.
On April 28th, vote for the anchor. Vote the Tobago People's Party.
This is an extra flight that we have for standby passengers. All the flights have groups on them, as you may see, actually pulling up.
There are some persons who want to go on the airport at any time without any serious plans and just jump on a plane and it doesn't operate like that. It doesn't operate like that. But for us, it's not a luxury.
They're walking past you in the airport and getting the flight because ministers and yes, chief secretaries too, just get priority on the plane, but all the time they're walking past you, they ain't care to lift their voice for you so that you could get more flights. Now the power is in your hands. Don't give them 5 more years to walk past you in high heels and ignore you.
On April 28th, vote for the anchor. Vote the Tobago People's Party.
That was a paid political advertisement.
Coconut's Cafe, the buffet restaurant that specializes in all your tasty local dishes for breakfast and for lunch. Breakfast includes coconut bake and sada roti served with chokers, bull joil and sausages in tomato sauce. Not forgetting beef and cheese pies, shepherd's pie, macaroni pie and rice in various styles. Meat served in a variety of flavors, garden salads and pasta salads. All this accompanied by fruit juices, coconut water, your choice of a great combination to appease your taste buds. So call us today to order, as we are here to accommodate your busy schedules or if you are having a cooking day off.
When the game is on, you don't want to miss the best moments. With AMPLIA TV, you can enjoy our ultimate sports package and watch your favorite games on the go. Stay connected and informed with sports news, scores, and stats with AMPLIA's fastest internet speeds. Up to 1 GB fiber internet, you can stream riveting football action, cricket, NBA games, and much more. With AMPLIA, it's game on. Visit amplia.co.tt or call 800-4663. AMPLIA. Do more, live more.
Welcome back. The Patriotic Front unveiled their manifesto on Monday. In an online broadcast, political leader Michaela Pandey introduced their campaign slogan, "Change, not exchange," and stated that the document offers bold and refreshing solutions to address the country's challenges. Reporter Josh Eldan has more.
In sharing the party's manifesto, political leader of the Patriotic Front, Michaela Pandey, stated that the current state of affairs in Trinidad and Tobago was not solely the fault of past governments. She urged citizens to recognize that the power to create change lies in their hands.
Brothers and sisters, this is not the future you were promised. This is not the nation you deserve. But I stand before you tonight to say, you have the power in your hands to end that era now.
Pandey declared that systems must be put in place to ensure governments are held accountable to their citizens.
We believe in a new Trinidad and Tobago, a country governed by transparent systems where corruption is rooted out and where representation and governance are grounded in real accountability.
The Patriotic Front's manifesto is structured around 9 key pillars: safe communities, clean energy and environmental sustainability, emphasis on women and youth empowerment, economic diversification, job creation and strengthening family life, food security, Tobago's development, improvements to national infrastructure, empowerment of workers, and good governance and accountability.
Fellow citizens, I encourage you to review our manifesto. This is your voice, and it aims to shape our future. With just days to go before the election, I want to remind you that this is your moment. You don't have to settle. The power belongs to you, and only you.
Jo Shaldan, Tobago Updates Television News.
Mount Pleasant Village Council hosted its 50th Sports and Family Day at the Mount Pleasant Recreation Grounds on Easter Monday. This beloved tradition was filled with fun and laughter, offering a wide range of activities for the entire family to enjoy. A major highlight was the goat races, which delighted both visitors and locals. Another standout moment was the Easter pageant, where young girls and boys proudly showcased colorful costumes inspired inspired by Easter themes. Adding to the festive spirit, kites dance in the sky, keeping the cherished Tobagonian Easter tradition alive. The event also featured a striking display of unique vehicles, perfectly lined up and sure to capture the attention and hearts of car enthusiasts. President Christine Kangaloo, along with other leaders, expressed condolences following the death of Pope Francis, the first Latin American pontiff. He passed away on April 21st at the age of 88. Kangaloo described him as a transformational leader whose legacy transcended borders, faith, and ideologies. In her message, Kangaloo praised Pope Francis for his deep compassion and unwavering dedication to social justice, including his advocacy for peace, poverty alleviation, climate action, and human rights. Prime Minister Stuart Young hailed the Pope as a humble leader committed to uplifting the poor and vulnerable, while opposition leader Kamala Persad-Bissessar lauded his efforts to promote global unity and tackle contemporary issues like climate change and migrant protection. Pope Francis' legacy will continue to inspire millions, leaving a lasting mark on both the Catholic Church and the world. His funeral service is scheduled for Saturday, April 26. The weather report is next.
The following is a paid political advertisement.
On April 28th, vote for the anchor. Vote the Tobago People's Party. On April 28th, vote for the anchor. Vote the Tobago People's Party. On April 28th, vote for the anchor. Vote the Tobago People's Party.
That was a paid political advertisement.
Are you in a dispute with a registered investment service provider of the TTSEC? Or maybe you're the victim of an investment scam? You can lodge a complaint or submit an anonymous tip to the Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission. Download our Investor Protection app or go to ttsec.org.tt to access our complaint form or submit an anonymous tip. Write a clear summary of your complaint. Submit copies of supporting documents along with the originals for verification. Provide a copy of the feedback received from the entity regarding your complaint. All investor complaints or scam reports submitted by the public are acknowledged and reviewed by the TTSEC. Investigations are pursued based on the outcome of the review. Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission, protecting the interests of investors and the public. You invest, we protect. Everyone benefits.
Quartz is well known as the Caribbean's largest retailer, providing consumers for generations with the very best products to enhance their homes. This year, we bring our expertise to businesses. Quartz Business Solutions will serve small, medium, and large companies with the very best products at the most competitive prices, backed by warranties and after-sales support. Hoteliers, office managers, restaurants, and so many more. Quartz Business Solutions, a brand of the Unicomer Group.
Now for a look at the weather forecast from the TNT Met Office. Generally fair conditions are expected tonight with a chance of a brief overnight shower. Temperatures will drop to around 25 degrees Celsius. Tomorrow will start off hot, sunny and slightly hazy with scattered showers, some heavy developing mainly from mid-afternoon. These showers are expected to continue intermittently into the night. Daytime temperatures will reach up to 31 degrees Celsius with a heat index of 34 degrees Celsius. A mild to moderate concentration of Sahara dust remains in the atmosphere, so sensitive individuals are advised to take necessary precautions. Sea conditions are slight to moderately rough, with waves reaching up to 1.5 meters in open waters and below 1 meter in sheltered areas. Sunrise at 5:47 a.m. and sunset at 6:14 p.m. And that's how we end this evening's newscast. Here's a recap of the headlines. THA denies ordering Prados on oil spill bill. TPP's David Thomas resumes canvassing after hospitalization from attack. And UNC highlights EBC concerns to CARICOM observers. I am Bianna Brebner. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a great night.